it's Anthony. Good morning. How are you? God bless. Listen, I was watching your whole creative process this morning. I was online when you showed up, and I saw your rough draft of Wesley's Horse, and I was just waiting for the poem to drop, and with eager anticipation, knowing they were both on at the same time, both creating, both thinking, both prayerful and meditative. I want to tell you something. Well, I don't know if I've shared this with you before, but after reading your comments to your email, and I emailed you back about Mahalia and the other video there, the Robin Mark video, I went outside and I was thinking about things I said to you. I was thinking about how I don't need to know. That's bothersome for me because we drive ourselves crazy trying to know, trying to analyze everything. And there's a certain freedom that you experience when you get to the point where you really don't need to know. It's not that you don't care or you're apathetic. Just trust that it's in God's hands. And that's a difficult place to get to because we want to explain everything. We want to give a good explanation for everything. And sometimes it just is not. If you're trusting in Him, things will come to you that He'll give you. And when it's from Him, you have to know. And when it's from the enemy, quite often, by appearance, it's indiscernible. It's that Holy Spirit that guides you. It's His discernment, not ours. Well, when I went outside, I was thinking about that, and I remembered clearly the vision I had of Jesus. The risen Jesus in all His glory. I was awakening one morning, and this is very close to the time when I was awakened. I was going through that whole process where the hands were laid on my temples, and that whole buzzing thing happened, and my memories were restored, and so many things happened all at once. A very dynamic period of time, and it's probably because, as far as I can understand, all of it would have overwhelmed me. So it just seemed like He did everything in small steps that I could keep up with. Anything more than that would have probably fried my brain. It would have been overload. But one morning I was waking up, and I probably told you this before, but something about this today made more sense. That morning when I was waking up, and mind you, I'm very aware of the angel of light and the deception, and I think about that all the time. I pray about it, and I guess I won't know till the time comes, But I won't know for sure. I want to believe with all my heart that it was Him. I do, but I've got to be cautionary about it, and I don't want to get you too excited about it. And that's why I downplay it as I do. And I don't share it with a lot of people. Not too many people have known this. But I was awakening one morning, and I was very aware of outside, the birds singing, and I was consciously aware of, okay, I'm going to wake up any second now because, hey, it's time to get to work. I got to jump in the shower. So it's that kind of you're awake, but you still got your eyes closed feeling. And in that moment where you make that decision that you're going to wake up, now I'm going to open my eyes. In that very moment is when my eyes were stopped from opening. And it's almost like I slipped out of time and space altogether. And in this moment, I don't know, for all I know, it could have been a nanosecond, but it was as if, man, it's so hard to describe. Um, I was in this place, and it was almost like a movie being projected on my eyelids, is how I can describe it. When you have a movie projector, or you're watching a slideshow, and you have a projector behind you, and in the classroom the teacher turns out the lights, and you close all the blinds in the classroom, and all of a sudden whatever's on the wall is bigger than life, right? Except to the nth degree. It was just brightness. It was bright, bright, bright light, but there was no dimension to it. There were no walls, there was no floors, there were no ceilings. It was just this bright light. It was just a space of light. And in the light, I see a figure, and I see him. I can't tell you exactly how I remember it, just that he was like, one minute he was distant and in the corner. Next he was in the middle, a little closer. Then he was distant. It's like he shifted around, and it was moving closer. And the harder I tried to look, the further away it got. And it was one of those things where when I caught a solid glimpse, it was almost like he turned sideways and just disappeared, like a pane of glass, and it was just like walking through many different veils. He would just emerge out of nowhere in this white space. And I didn't have a sense of, and I've heard other people say this before, but I didn't have a sense of, and people who have visions and, near-death experiences, I didn't have a sense of any light being projected anywhere, but that the source of the light was him. He was the light. And he was very, very bright, very illuminated, very bright, pure white robes. And I involuntarily, because my curiosity was such, even though this was a very vivid dream, vision, whatever you want to call it, experience, my logical mind was at one time terrified, at the same time so curious that I kept trying to lock my eyes on this, and I couldn't. It was just too much. I couldn't. When he came closer, I couldn't bear to look at him, at this awesomeness. I couldn't. My eyes couldn't take it. And it's the only thing I can think of is, and I've said this before, it felt like melting, like I turned into liquid, like I just melted and I became a part of a pool, like where I was stood was now a pool of liquid, water, blood, whatever you want to call it. But that's what it felt like I was a liquid. And I was aware of seeing the hem of his robe. I don't remember feet. I was just so overtaken by this that what stood out to me was the brightness of his robe. And as I panned up to look, I realized that it was from the perspective of like being on the ground in a pool of water, or as a child or an infant, and looking up at this towering figure. And it wasn't that he was so big, it was that I had become so small. That I was aware of. And this presence, very minuscule. So I'm panning up, and what greets my eyes next, it was just like the scripture says, hair of woolen white, a pure white woolen, a man maybe in his 30s, he died, he was 33, right? So I would imagine about 33, maybe a little bit older, I'd say, maybe 40s. And the eyes were, my mind wanted to know. It put a sound to what I saw, although I probably didn't actually hear the sound. But when I saw, what I saw was these flames coming out of his eyes. They were alive. They were expressive. They were terrifying. But the terrifying part was over with quickly. And looking into his eyes was a peace. Here I go again with that word bliss. There was a bliss. Absolutely a bliss. And, he was in all his glory. He was in battle mode, and I thought, oh my God, what have I done? I must have done something wrong. He's showing me angry Jesus, And I guess with time, why would Jesus even show himself to you, I've had lots of time to think about this. And people I've spoken to, they can't give me any answers. They think I'm crazy. So I don't talk about it a lot. I might as well tell people I saw a UFO land in my backyard. What does it mean? I don't know. Am I special? I don't feel special. Am I privileged? I don't know. I don't know what any of this means and why me, of all people, given the life I've lived. But I do know what I saw. And when I looked in his eyes, the flames were so vivid, alive. It was yellowish white. They were just looking into these eyes. It was just a mesmerizing experience. It was so intense. It's like staring into the sun, but your eyes don't burn. And I snapped out of it. I woke up, and immediately I got up and started to walk out of the bedroom, and I stopped dead in my tracks. And this was just completely erased from my memory till I reached the threshold of the door, and I stopped. Did this really just happen? Did this just happen? I can't believe this happened. So, I think about that. I see that this image came to mind this morning was the illustration we both used on the road to Emmaus, where the two disciples are walking and Jesus joins them, and it's just like this phantom image. Word phantom's not a good fan. A clear kind of see-through, ethereal silhouette. So it's like you see him but you don't see him, kind of a feeling. They knew they were in the presence of something, but they didn't know what, and he was hidden to them. And it was a feeling of, I didn't understand why he would disappear like he did, but it wasn't that he was disappearing. It was almost like he was walking through dimensions, to different realities. It was like walking through different veils. I call it the dance of the veils, He was just like there, then he wasn't there, then he was far, then he was near, then he was broad, 2D, and then he was 3D, then he was 1D, and then at times he was like a pane of glass that turned sideways and just disappeared. Well, all of this comes to mind this morning, I guess with the exchange we had. I was inspired to tell you this. Now, Doug, there's things I share with you. I say go ahead and share them forward, but please keep this between ourselves, because I really, I'm still processing this, and I really don't know what it means, but I know I can trust you with this. I might go to my grave and not know anything about this, I just know I saw what I saw, and it was pretty intense. It was unforgettable. And it really made an impression on me. I thought, upon seeing that, I thought something great was going to happen. I was going to be called to ministry, or I had a calling, or maybe it was just God's way of showing me that He's really real, you know. And maybe He knew that I needed that, maybe my faith wasn't strong enough. I don't know. But I just felt compelled to share this with you. I'm not trying to sensationalize what happened or anything. I don't feel special because of it. Like I said, I don't know. I know that He is truth, but I also know that the deceiver can be disguised as an angel of light. Um, and I don't know what that's supposed to look like. So, how do I know that I know? I didn't have any feeling of fear or anxiety. It was quite the opposite. Um, it was it was contact with those eyes that it was like, it's like going somewhere else. You know, I can't tell you visually what I saw, because all I saw was the eyes, and the eyes were just a flood, a flood of light. Like I said, it's like staring into the sun, except it didn't burn and it didn't hurt. It was just the mind. Everything seemed to. The only way I can think of is if you breathe something that's real minty, or something to smelling salts. Smelling salts. If you were to put smelling salts under your nose, all of a sudden you're very aware of your breathing, of that sensation. It was almost like everything. All my pores were open. All my eyes were wide awake. My nerves were all tingling. I felt very alive. That's the closest this writer can come to describing what I felt. And I don't talk about it a lot because, like I said, I'm still processing it. And, I don't know what the reality is. I know He's real, but like I said, there is that deception that's supposed to come. And I don't mean to be a skeptic or a cynic. And I don't want to sensationalize what I saw. I think that if that's something the Lord wants you to know, Doug, I think He'll let you know. Um, and maybe through you I can get the confirmation I need, the affirmation that I seek. But whether I saw Him for real or not, it doesn't matter, because I believe that He's real. I don't have to see. That's what faith is all about. I can see what He's doing. I can see the connection, that you and I share. I can see how it works through other people. I can see things that just can't be coincidence. And there's evidence of Him everywhere, of His love, His faithfulness to us. So that really is not that important, whether or not I know that. But I just wanted to share something wonderful with you. I thought it was pretty cool. Love you, bro. God bless you.